speaker. Her name's Maria Lee, and I met this woman when she was about 24 and I wasn't. And I have had the privilege of seeing her grow and change in so many ways, and I'm going to get out of her way now and let her talk about her business, Black Dog Fiber Studio.
We have to switch a little technical thing here. Last night didn't give me the opportunity to spend as much time as I wanted on doing a nice big PowerPoint presentation for everybody, but I did come up with a few visuals for you all to see. Black Dog Fiber Studio is located at 11 North Main Street here downtown, and we bought the building back in 2003 when we bought our house. And matter of fact, we refurbed that before we refurbed the house. It's a beautiful, beautiful building built back in the 1800s, and the only things right now that are original to it are the ceilings upstairs, the floors upstairs, and the brick walls. So we put a lot of time and a lot of money into it, and we really think it's a beautiful, beautiful space. I'm not a retail store, but I do have a sign on the door, and my door's the right one. When you look at the ferns, I'm on the right. The upstairs is a business tenant, but the sign on the door says, I'm not a retail store, but if the lights are on and the door's unlocked, please come in and visit me. A lot of times people will walk by and they'll say, well, you need a sign in the window. Well, if I put a sign in the actual window, then people will start expecting me to be open every day. And at this point in my life, that's not what I want to be. I will be open, though. This Saturday night is Gallery Hop downtown, and it's from 4 to 8. And I will be one of the northernmost buildings that are open. So if you're interested, come downtown, eat at a nice downtown restaurant, and walk around. Enjoy, everybody. I've always loved sewing. And as a girl, I was the one in school who always made her own clothes. Mostly because I was short and strange size, and nothing ever fit right out of the box anyway. I was a fashion design student at Washington University in St. Louis when Mark and I decided to flap our entrepreneurial wings and move to Kentucky. So that period got cut a little short, but even after we moved down south, I continued working with a silk artist, and she would paint beautiful, beautiful watercolor scenes on silk fabrics and then ship them down to me, and I would sew them into clothes that she would sell in high-end boutiques across the country. It was nice for me to be able to keep up with that and not have to completely give up my artistic bent during that time. Fast forward to 2005, life was pretty crazy in the business world for us, and I needed a way to relax and keep my hands busy that didn't involve food to mouth all day long. So I picked up some knitting needles and got some cheap yarn and a little book from Walmart and sat down and said, I can do this, I can figure this out. And absolutely made me crazy. I got so frustrated with it, I shoved it all on the sofa. And the next year, when I cleaned under the sofa, I found it again. And at that point, I picked it up and thought, why did I think I could do this? And I put the needles together, and all of a sudden, it clicked. I think it just needed to marinate for a while in my brain until I was really ready to focus on it and enjoy it. From that point, that was probably in October, through Christmas, every person I knew, whether they were friend or family or distant cousin, got a scarf. And sometimes they were really nice scarves, and sometimes they were like this. They were just crazy. But I got to the point where I said, okay, I got to do something besides scarves. Then I found about spinning and decided I wanted to learn how to spin. So I bought a spinning wheel and spun a lot of yarn, and then I had a lot of stash because I had a lot of yarn to use up. And knitted that, and I thought, this is nice, but I want to choose my own colors. And it's hard to find spinning fiber in a small town like this unless you go hours and hours to festivals. So I got into dyeing. So now I'm dyeing my own fiber, and I'm spinning it into yarn. And then I thought, well, spinning takes a long time. Let me just go ahead and buy some yarn too. So I started dyeing yarn. Then the stash got bigger because there's no room in the house to hold everything. In 2009, our building downtown, the downstairs part was vacant, and Mark said, why don't you just move all of this stuff downtown? Gave him space for his office space at home, and I moved it downtown. It was 1,600 square feet, and it had a spinning wheel and a couple of looms and some chairs, and that was it. And if you've been by the studio lately, you know that it doesn't look like that anymore. It will never, ever fit back in the house. And then I got another loom, and another loom. And so we pretty much filled up the space. When we got the space filled up, and I was enjoying spending time down there a couple nights a week, having knit nights. We call them fiber fellowships because not everybody knits. And we do that on Tuesday nights. So if anybody's interested or knows somebody who likes to do fiber, please come on by. Mark said, well, if you're going to be down there that much, why don't you just make a business out of it? That way we can insure the business name, write it off, all those kinds of things, you know? I said, fine, okay. So we talked about it. I think we were on vacation in the Baltimore area at that time, and we were thinking about names. And I came up with, how about Black Dog? Let's just do Black Dog. We had a Black Dog at the time. And came to Black Dog Fiber Studio. So we got home, and that next January, I think, is when we decided that we would, is my 6 minutes up already? I still got 3 more pages to go.
Guess we better ask the right questions.
Start for you. I love you. Let me do just a couple more things here, because I know the questions won't go that long. I need a Sharpie. Is there a Sharpie around here? Yes. There we go. Thank you. All right. I figured I had to use it first. Fancy Sharpie. Okay.
Yeah.
What?
Just say, wait,
Does anybody know what that means?
Yes,
What does it
means
mean?
you're introverted.
Okay.
So you're great, but you've got lots of talent and you have the dynamics to do a business. That's my profile.
Okay. All right. That's Myers-Briggs personality typing. Mark and I did a program shortly after we got married, which is the reason why we are still married. Because we learned how to communicate, okay? Okay, what's this?
ESTJ.
So that must be Mark.
That's Mark. That's what that is.
That's Mark. Okay. Several weeks ago, there was a Facebook post I saw pop up. What Star Wars character are you by personality? I got Obi-Wan Kenobi. All right. Mark got Darth Vader.
But a nice Darth Vader.
But these haven't changed. In 26 years of marriage, these have not changed. Which means that you are who you are, and you really can't change. The point of talking about personalities and entrepreneurship is I need help. And as much help as I need is, you know, you can get different levels of these different personality types. All of these others here, I'm kind of borderline. This one, 83% of my personality is introverted. Okay? So you're getting all 17% in 20 minutes. That means I'm going home, I'm going back to the studio, and I'm going to lay down for a while. This is what keeps me going, okay? I have wrapped up in one person my lawyer, my marketing guru, my partner, and my best friend. And if you don't have a partner or a group of people that you can count on and rely on, it'll be a lot harder if you're an introvert. Because the hardest things for me to do are talking about myself, marketing what I do. I can go down to the studio and I can play all day long and accumulate all these great things that I've created that I know people will love, but I don't want to talk about it. I'd rather talk about you. I'd rather talk about what you like to do. So this was my big point. Find people that can do what you can't do, or that love to do what you don't like to do. All right, now questions. Yes, sir.
You said you were not a retail store,
Right.
but you do sell your items, and I'm assuming you offer class. I mean, you have to create a stream of revenue.
Right. Right. And my point, right now, the point that I'm at in life is, how do I take my first passion, which is seniors and assisted living and helping people at the later stages of their life, and put it in the same context with my passion for fiber and for working with people and creating things. Because there's two different parts. I love both of them, and I love them both equally. So at this point in my life, I'm spending more time in senior housing, less time in the fiber business. My office is downtown, so I'm there every day, so I'm more accessible. I want to eventually move over to where I'm spending more time with the studio. Most of my sales right now are online. So I have several different online sources. Ravelry, most of you wouldn't know what that is, but it's an awesome social networking site for people who are into fiber, knitting, weaving, sewing, all kinds of stuff. Craftsy, some of you know what Craftsy is. Pinterest, yeah, you admit it, you know what Pinterest is. Knitpicks is it's a knitting catalog. They have a paper catalog and they're online, based out of Washington State. And that was my first foray. I started creating knitting crochet patterns, and now that I sell them through Knitpicks. So you can buy my patterns online. I also sell them through all of these other outlets. That's my main source of revenue outside of Madisonville.
Do you give classes?
I do. I've been doing some workshops at the studio. One of the big things for me is finding the time to schedule workshops in, around the other parts of my, either business life and assisted living or family time. But I am working, matter of fact, I'm going to try to get one going in November.
And do you give classes on knitting and sewing?
I do one-on-one classes as people are interested. I don't advertise those, but I offer them for people who are interested.
What about the spinning and weaving?
Spinning and weaving, I've done some. I've had a couple who have shown up and said, actually, I have sheep and I want to be able to spin their wool. So I get them started, and if they like it, then they'll buy their own wheel, and they're always welcome to come visit with us.
I would love to learn.
There you go. There you go. We'll get you started. Anya.
Do you have any classes on dyeing your scarves?
As a matter of fact, one of the workshops I'm talking about in November is either going to be Minofelting or scarf dyeing.
And what's the age limit then? Because I have my youngest.
8 and up.
Okay.
It's simple, it's messy, everybody loves to do it.
Now, how would you do advertising your classes?
What I'll do is I'll introduce the times at Gallery Hop on Saturday, and then I'll have them posted on my Facebook page, and I'll do a group email to people who've been interested in the past.
Maria, do you find that, I know anytime that I have visitors to Madisonville, in fact, I've got a couple coming today, I tend to want to take them to the local stores and the local artists and things. Do you find that you get a lot of people from out of town, that people do bring their visitors like to your studio?
I've had that happen a couple of times recently. A friend of mine, she needle felts pumpkins and animals, and she sells them in some of the local shops. Charity Williams is her name. She owns sheep. I think she lives out in Hanson. She has the two most beautiful daughters I've ever seen. These long, rough. Well, it's the girls. I'm sorry, it's the girls.
I'm just kidding.
And she comes in, she buys fiber from me. She brought in a friend a couple weeks ago who she was giving a tour of downtown while the husband was interviewing at a hospital. So she brought somebody by. I had a couple of gals who were just in town doing a seminar someplace else in town that were staying at Hammock Morehouse. They just walked by one midnight and said, I can't believe there's somebody selling yarn in Madisonville. You know, and they're from Georgia, so it would be nice to have more people come downtown, and that's one of the good things about actually working downtown. I can hear people knock on the window. If they can't get the door open.
Sorry, what's the felt?
Nuno felting.
What is that?
Nuno felting is a lamination process of taking a piece of fabric and pushing fiber, typically wool, through it and then felting it. It's an art project, and we have a lot of fun with it. Sir?
You might mention about the, how you will, your contact with the people who, what is it, the day after Thanksgiving?
Oh, that was a workshop. I have a friend who every other year, her extended family gets together in the Hanson area for the day after, well, Thanksgiving, the day after. The men go out hunting or skeet shooting, things like that, and the women all look for a craft project. Debbie asked me a few years ago if I would be interested in hosting them. So they came to the studio the Friday after Thanksgiving, and there were, first year there were probably 18 of them, and we did Nuno felt classes. Everybody walked out with a scarf at the end of the day, and we had everywhere from 7-year-olds to 70-year-olds, had all. A couple years later, we did the silk dyeing, and everyone walked out with at least one scarf, and typically more than that, because they had them for Christmas presents. So I'm guessing everybody in their family got a scarf at Christmas too.
Have you ever gone to the school, like the high school or whatever, to talk about what you do? Because I'm sure there are young people here in Madisonville, Hopkins County that are very interested in fashion and everything. Do you have anybody that you've worked with?
I haven't gone to the high schools. Mary Chandler has invited me, and I've gone once so far to the, can't remember what the name of it is, but it's the, I guess, kind of a career day. And I think they typically had it at the Methodist Church. And from an art perspective, I've gone with Lynn Curtis, and we've been able to talk with kids there as they do their rotations through. I have had several that I've talked to through Brad Downall and the Glee Memorial Center, who've come out and helped with the art installations that I've done at the Baker Gallery. So, yeah, always interested in having kids involved.
Oh, I was just gonna say, can you explain a little bit about your knit nights that you have on Tuesday?
Knit nights, 5 to 7, most Tuesdays. Last night I had to cut a little bit short because we had a Kiwanis dinner to go to. But anybody is welcome to come, and we sit around in a group and we knit, or we spin, or we crochet, or we weave, or we just sit and talk. Everybody's invited, whatever level you're at. If you have a problem, come in, and somebody there can probably help you with it.
And you don't charge for those?
No charge, no charge.
If it was up to you and there wasn't like, you know, businesses that you had to run with somebody, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What is your dream future for Black Dog Fiber? What would you like to see?
That's a good question, and that really is where I am right now, is trying to decide, you know, do I want to take this hobby pseudo business and make it something bigger than what it is? Or am I content to be able to play at it and make enough money to pay for my materials? I'm at that stage right now. You know, I'm not making very much money, but I'm having a really good time. I want to get to the point where I can actually have a good time and have some money left over at the end of the day. I have one specific pattern, sock monkey slipper patterns. It's this one right here, and it comes in knit and crochet. And it was my first pattern that I published. through Knit Picks, uses their yarn, so they sell my pattern in order to sell their yarn. It was gangbusters, and I thought the first year it was doing really, really well. It's kind of tapered off a little bit. Every year about this time in the fall it gets to pick up. But I've teased Carson that he's going to college on sock monkey slippers. Yeah. But since then I branched out and done others. Yeah, sock monkey slippers. Yeah. So that's.
Well, I don't know whether anybody else in here watches it. I'm sure probably most do. It's that Shark Tank on TV. And it just amazes me sometimes at the things that get brought to Shark Tank and asking those people to invest in. And believe you me, I do not have the courage to go on Shark Tank. But anyway, how do you think that your business would be perceived by Shark Tank?
I think Shark Tank people would tell me to poop or get off the pot. I do. I think they would say, you need to decide, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Do you want to grow it? I have lots and lots of great ideas. I have pattern kits that I put together. I have bought yarn wholesale and dyed it and sold it. I have got lots and lots of patterns out there. It takes a while sometimes for the pattern ideas to come, but once they're done and they're made, I don't have any more time invested in them other than marketing them.
So out of the things that you do, that one would probably be considered, would you consider that your most profitable, the patterns?
At this point, for the time invested in them, they are. But the ideas don't always come to me. I'm not like a writer, who I'm sure has writer's block on a regular basis, but it has a tendency for me to go in spurts and starts. Sounds really good for a while, and then something shiny comes along, and I move on to something else. Yes, sir.
How do you think your personality is going to allow you to become from a artsy lady to a manager?
Partnership. I have Mark at home every night helping me to figure out what I want to do, listening to me complain if I'm having a problem, and saying, you can write up a pattern, but if you don't get it out the door, nobody's going to know about it. So get moving. Keep moving.
Now, I would like to say, from knowing you and Mark both, and not that you're personal friends, but certainly people that I claim to be friends and acquaintances of mine, I think you have a wonderful partnership going. And I will tell you this, I think as small business and entrepreneurs and everything, that is one of the most important things. If my husband had not had a job when I first went into my business and had not been my encouragement, and not let me just walk away or whatever, I probably wouldn't be here today. And that's a wonderful thing to have, the support of the most important people in our lives. So anyway, I think you guys do a great job with that.
Thank you.
I follow you on Facebook as far as like Dog Fiber. And you posted some really neat sneak peeks this week about things that are going to be at the gallery. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Well, I think you saw the bottle lanterns. Again, that was a shiny thing. I saw them on Pinterest, crack for computers, and decided that I needed some things like that hanging in my backyard. And of course, you make 2, you make 3, and then all of a sudden you make 25. And I don't have that many trees in my backyard, so they'll be available. I've been working on some new knitwear items, and have been burning up the loom, getting some things done. I want to have something new and different from what I've had in the past. Things that have sold the most here in Madisonville have been the silk dyed scarves, and I think that's mostly because they're at a lower price point, and they're all original, and they make great presents for people. So I'll have some more of those, but I'm looking to branch out into other creative things that I like to do. Thursday night, I will have Hopkins County Art League people in the studio, and they're going to be covering the walls with their art. So we'll have a really nice mix of things to show and to sell. So we love to show, but we really like to sell. Anything else? Yes, Mary?
When I was in New Orleans, just about 2 weeks ago, I went downtown, of course, everybody goes downtown, and we went to a jazz bar, and across the street, they had a art thing that was just absolutely amazing. They took an alley, like an artist alley. They put these lights all up in there, and everybody had their art booths. They had cool places where you sit down, and you could kind of relax and have coffee with each other if you wanted to, or you could go to the booths, you can buy something. And it was just an experience that was absolutely riveting for me. I thought it was amazing. And what you're doing here is a lot like that. Have you thought about y'all expanding to larger spaces versus, because I know you have to go to different locations, but taking one large location like that?
I don't know what's going on, downtown turnaround project, which I know Barbie's involved in, Jenny Gibson's involved in. Lots and lots of great ideas. Downtown Madisonville is expanding, it's changing, it's being revitalized. It's a slow process, mostly because it takes a lot of money, and then you have to have a true vision for how you want it to end up looking. So that, I think, is something that people would love to see.
I got pictures, I'll show you.
Yeah. Right now, doing this twice a year can be hard because it's hard to find artists who can create enough work in a year to provide something new and fresh to see every year. And, one of the things I love to do is weave dish towels. Dish towel is not art. It's a wonderful thing to dry your hands on every day, dry your dishes on, and you're using an original piece of handmade work every day when, in your kitchen. But it's not art. But I love to do it, and I want to share it with other people. I do Nuno felted wall hangings. That's a little closer to art for me than a dish towel is. But people love dish towels. Scarves for me, they're one of a kind, and I love to make them. A lot of people would look at that and say, well, that's just a fashion accessory. And that's okay too, but I love to do it. What I love to do and what I want to help promote to make downtown grow more is art that everyone else sees as art. Sculpture and painting and all the other things that people want to invest in.
Two great presenters today.
Yeah.
Next week we have, I'm your VP,
VIP.
and what's the second one that applied with that?
Tri-State Hot Biz.
Tri-State Hot Biz will be coming. These are two entities, I think one's from Newburgh and one's from Evansville. Is that right? So we're excited to have them and excited to expand out in the region a little bit. So come join us next Wednesday at 7:30.
Ruth Ann, one thing. When Marion and I were in Kansas City at the Kaufman Foundation, one of the organizers from another city, I think Miami, characterized 1 million cups. Said, you know what? While there's some similarities about Shark Tank and 1 million cups, that's not what we are. We're Guppy Tank. That resonated with people, and so I just, on hearing about Shark Tank today, we're all about startups and helping people learn in a positive environment. So glad you came to Guppy Tank today.
Good deal. If you are interested in presenting at 1 Million Cups, please contact us. We will be glad to lead you in how to fill out the form or help you with that.
It didn't kill me.
There you
Thank you. We'll see you next Wednesday.